Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michele, mom of 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. So most people think that losing weight is about finding the perfect diet, the perfect foods, but a piece of it is that sometimes if we don't have a plan, that can be what is keeping us stuck. Because when we don't have a plan, we're left making last-minute food choices. When we're hungry, when we're tired, when we're stressed, when we're busy. And we typically don't make the best choices when we're feeling those. We're in that emotional brain. And then our old habits just take over. So we grab what's easy. Maybe we eat out more. We'll just say we'll start again next week, maybe tomorrow. But the truth is, meal planning doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to take hours and hours to prep. It just has to be a part of your routine, and you have to figure out what works for you. So we're going to dive into sort of the why, the mindset, and some very practical tips today. But before we do that, I want to give one last shout out to my sale. I'm offering 30% off of my health coaching, EFT coaching, and our personal training app for 3 months. So you can really get a strong foundation and get started so you can really see what it's like. Because you guys don't have to figure everything all out on your own. Because sometimes having that structure, that support, that accountability, that person who can look at and figure out where you're stuck, ask those right questions, making sure that you are committing to something that you're able to do and not something you're just going to start and fail at because maybe you don't have the time or the mental energy to do it. So having a coach is all about really getting that personalized plan that fits your life. So if you've been feeling like you're stuck, having trouble staying consistent, or noticing that you're reaching for that bag of chips or that bag of cookies and just eating when you don't really want to, let's set up a free call. You can do phone or video, whatever you're more comfortable with. And then we're just going to go over your goals, see what's holding you back, and see what would be a couple steps that you can start taking to move forward. And then if we feel like we're a fit for each other, I'll share more about my coaching or personal training, but it's a no pressure call. But if you want to take advantage of the sale, you must book your call by this Saturday, March 1st. All right, so first I want to get us in the right mindset, like why meal planning helps us stay on track. So 1, decision fatigue is real. So having a plan makes eating healthy so much easier, especially when we're feeling stressed, when we're hungry. If we have to make choices, we're not going to make as good choices. So if we sort of pre-decide ahead of time, figure things out, then we just go and grab what we need. We don't have to make a decision in that moment when it's harder to choose those healthy things. And planning really just removes the guesswork and the stress out of it. If you can sit with a clear mind and start to really think what you want to eat, and you write that down and you go off of that, it really takes that stress and that guesswork each day. What are you going to have? And also when you do this, you can save time and money and energy. So you're not like buying food that you're going to waste. You're going to get really clear on what you're going to eat. You're not going to buy something just because it's healthy. You're going to get really clear on what you're going to eat. And a lot of times, even when like going out seems like the easier thing to do, it typically takes more money. And sometimes it still takes a lot of time to go out to eat. By the time you drive and wait and come back, there is a lot of time. All right, so the first thing when we're thinking about meal planning is you have to look at your schedule. And it's so common in our culture that we just are over busy. We literally have too much on our schedule. So that could be a whole podcast topic there. But you need to look at your schedule, and meal planning has to be a part of it. And the amount of time that is going to be different for everybody. But it has to be in there. And maybe in your house, someone else also helps out with the meal planning or making the meals. So that's fine, but that has to be there. And sometimes we think that we just shouldn't have to spend much time on food or food prep or meal planning because we're so used to this culture of fast food and like food being there. So if you have those thoughts, we need to catch those thoughts. And we need to know that they're not true. We do need to spend time on food. And that could be us, it could be someone else in our house, but there is time we need to spend planning and prepping and cooking food and eating it. I mean, how many of us like shovel food in our mouth and eat way too fast? It's not the way it was meant to be. God created us to eat whole, real food, to be able to chew that food. And I think back, my grandma, she just recently had to move into assisted living. So up until this past year, she always had a pretty big garden at her house. And way back in the day, I think it was even bigger, but it's a pretty big garden. And she had peach trees and pear trees, and she would take care of this and cultivate it. And she worked too when she was younger. But it just helped me to come back to like, we are supposed to tend and cultivate food, take time preparing. Like she would do canning. I remember canning applesauce with her, but she canned all sorts of things. And it's so easy in our culture to just get away from this because we can buy a lot of stuff at the grocery store. But I like just coming back to this idea of we are supposed to spend time on our food. Whether that is meal planning, going to the grocery store, chopping some vegetables. And so when we're looking at our schedule, we also just need to look at our week. What nights are busy? When do I need a quick meal? Fridays, am I always like planning a meal, but I'm not eating it because I need something quicker? Then let's plan a quick meal. We have to really plan meals around our lifestyle. We need to look at our schedule. So I will look at our schedule, and some nights I'm going to plan easier meals because I know we have sports and different things going on. Or maybe I'm working a little bit later and I know I need like an Instapot meal that night. So if we can take a little bit of time putting this pre-thought into it, then the week goes so much easier. And I think another tip here is really to choose a few go-to meals that you like. You don't need different meals all the time. You can pick a couple breakfast meals that you like. What are a few different lunches? What are dinners that you can rotate and enjoy them? When we keep it simple, like how can I have a healthy protein, a non-starchy veggie, and maybe we have a carb or something else that we might eat a little of or our kids might eat more of, whatever that is. There's so many ways to keep it easy. So making that list for each meal of stuff you can pick from each week also helps to relieve that decision fatigue while you're meal planning. So we don't really rotate in a lot of new recipes. For the most part, each week we're eating things we have already cooked and eaten. Every once in a while we'll add in something new, but that's not very often. That would be so overwhelming if I did that. And right now I'm specifically working on training my 12-year-old and my 14-year-old to cook meals. And what I'm doing is each week that child is cooking the same meal, and we are helping them less and less each week. So after about 4 weeks, they're getting pretty independent with it. And then what will I do? I'm going to add another meal. But I'm keeping that the same thing each week so they can learn to cook it and how to do all of it by themselves. So it's sort of the same idea with us. Sometimes having too much variety can be overwhelming. So the side note there with my kids, I'm trying to get them to learn how to cook for right now, at least a few different healthy meals that they can then go to and make because I want them to have these skills too, to be able to know how to chop things, how to cook things as they are growing older and out of the house. And I want my boys to be able to do that when they leave the house. And it also just helps them be more involved with the meal and the cooking and around the house. And so for me, for my breakfast lately, the main one I've been eating, and I don't even have much variety with this one, is I make some like almond flour, banana muffins with protein powder. And then I usually have a couple pieces of sausage, and then I have my green juice. And so I've been using the Organifi green juice for over 2 years now. So I mix it with a little unsweetened almond milk and a scoop of protein powder and the green juice. And I do that most mornings. And what really sets the green juice apart from other green powders that you might find is it has a full dose of ashwagandha, which is really a powerful adaptogen. So it helps our body adapt to stress, helps our hormones, our energy levels. And it's a herb that I constantly hear when I'm reading something about perimenopause or menopause. So it's a great way to support your body, lower your stress, flood your body with nourishment at the beginning of the day. And if you guys want to check that out, there will be a link down below, and just use the code HEALTHY20 and you're going to save 20% off. I think if you sign up for their subscription, you save even more. And you can use that code again. So if you go back and order a few months from now, you can use that code again to save money, and it combines with sales and stuff they have going on. The other thing that can really help with meal planning is to prep. And how much you prep is going to be totally up to you and what you need to be successful for your week. So like the muffins I was talking about, I usually prep a lot at once, and I'll have some in the fridge and some in the freezer. So that way I have them for like 2 or 3 weeks, usually like 3. And that makes it easy for me. All I do is I put those in the toaster oven every morning, warm my sausage up in the microwave, and it's easy. So what would it be helpful for you to have prepped? Is that some chopped veggies? Is that like protein that's already cooked, whether you cook it or you buy meat that is already cooked and easy to use? Does that mean that when you cook dinner, you're going to make extra so you can have leftovers? I love having leftovers for lunch. What do you need chopped up and ready to go so you can grab a healthy snack or lunch, whatever that is for you? And I encourage you, when you're starting this, don't think you have to go 0 to 60. Maybe you're just going to think about 1 or 2 things that you could prep this next week so that it makes your life easier. Okay, so now I want to go over some common things I hear about meal planning. So one is I don't have the time. And so it sort of goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning. We have to like shift our mindset and think about like what is important. Like having food and healthy food is important. And really, if we think about this, we don't have time not to. Because then in that moment, when we think we don't have the time and we're grabbing food that isn't healthy for us, or we're like going out to eat, or we're like just debating in the moment what to do, we waste a lot of time and energy on that. So really in the long run, planning is going to save us time. And so when we have these thoughts, this is something I love working on in coaching, I don't have time. When we think I don't have time, it's going to create that feeling of overwhelm and stress. So how can we change that thought to something that is more true? So if you're catching yourself saying that, that's definitely a thought that needs to be flipped. Something else I hear too is sort of like, I don't know what to eat, because we're looking for like that perfect food or that perfect thing that we need. But a lot of times we do know what to eat. So we can keep it simple. Most meals, how can I have protein, fiber, and a healthy fat? We don't have to have complicated meals. For the most part, most of my meals are pretty simple. Like I described my breakfast to you. A lot of times at lunches, I have been having like a salad with a pre-cooked chicken. I might put avocado or cherry tomatoes or other things. And then I may or may not have something on the side. I might have leftovers. Like, we can keep it simple and eat healthy. We don't have to complicate it. So I don't know what to eat. If that is the thought you're having, I encourage you to write down what you already know is healthy and that you can eat. And don't be searching for the best food or the perfect thing you can have. Just pick something that we know is like probably healthy and go with that. Have your starting point, your launching pad. So maybe you're having some other thoughts I haven't mentioned, but that's where coaching or even self-coaching yourself through these thoughts that really aren't working for you and sort of maybe keeping you stuck and not meal planning. That when we can start to flip those and we have more freedom and we're able to plan our meals better, then we're able to develop so much more consistency. All right, let me highlight a few things today. So one is sort of looking at your schedule and planning that in your week. Where are you going to put that? Having some simple go-to meals that you can have. What is like 1 or 2 things that you can prep this week? And noticing those thoughts, if you're having any negative thoughts about meal planning, and starting to flip those so that you're looking at meal planning from a different perspective. All right, friends, and I encourage you that if you're feeling stuck at all or your health journey isn't going the way you want it to, is just to reach out, set up a free call, take advantage of my sale, and see if we're a fit. See if my health coaching could maybe help move you forward instead of trying another diet. And to see if we can really get you on that path to sustainable, healthy weight loss that is going to have you feeling good.